James Gunn's Suicide Squad is probably the most energetic and dynamic I've seen a DC movie been since Birds of Prey.
You gotta be kidding me. You're gonna risk the entire mission for a mental defective dressed as a court jester.
This coming from a guy that wears a toilet seat on his head.
We don't leave one of our own behind.
Hopefully Harley's still alive.
No funny business, Colonel. These are dangerous people.
Team 2 is clear to go.
Fire on. 3, 2.
What are you guys doing?
What?
We're here to save you.
You were gonna save me?
It was a really good plan, too.
Well, I can go back inside and you can still do it.
That's patronizing.
I'm so sorry. Harley Quinn.
Blood sport. Nom nom.
Any questions?
And
Yes, that is your hand. Very good.
we're all gonna die.
I hope so.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm a little late to the party, but I finally saw it. The Suicide Squad, written and directed by James Gunn, follows a group of DC villains recruited by Viola Davis to perform a secret Black Ops mission. The mission? To destroy Jotunheim, a top-secret facility where experiments on an alien organism are being made. The organism ends up being Starro, which is a Suicide Squad composed of Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Ratcatcher, King Shark, Harley Quinn, and Polka Dot Man must fight to prevent the city from becoming part of its hive mind. Cat break. I'll admit, when I first saw this movie, I thought it was going to be juvenile, full of dick humor, and suffer from a lot of the weedonization that a lot of superhero media seems to be suffering as of late. But gladly, I was wrong. James Gunn achieved a fantastic balance of comedy and drama, which is especially impressive considering how ridiculous a lot of these characters are. I really enjoyed this film. While the plot is kind of your typical action movie plot where one small objective turns into this gigantic set piece to save the world, I think the movie does it extremely well, providing a clear sense of character motivation as well as beautiful set pieces infused with a lot of character interaction. The cinematography is great. It's very fast-paced to match the action. It uses a lot of really good wide shots to orient you as an audience. You never really get lost, and you very effortlessly keep track of where everything and everyone is throughout all of the set pieces, which is pretty impressive considering that the set pieces can get pretty big. It's also not an overly stylized film. The previous Suicide Squad had this color palette that I feel made the movie hard to follow visually, but in this version, Gunn showed a lot of restraint in giving the movie a much more naturalistic feel. It grounds the film in reality and makes its ridiculous characters feels like they could really exist, even in their most dramatic or comedic moments. Gunn instead focuses a lot of that stylization into the title cards to transition us from one act into the other. And I really like this, and it's something that I wish a lot more movies in the action genre would embrace. The pseudo-diegetic title cards are a really smart and efficient way to offer us a little bit more clarity as to where we are in the story without sacrificing the immersion of the audience too much. There's this really cool moment in the film where Bloodsport, Rick Flag, and Peacemaker escape the hands of the military that they're fighting against by crashing a truck. And this, of course, generates a lot of fire and explosions. And when they finally get out of the van, there's a line saying what they have to do next, and it cuts into a wide, and the fire behind them now reads Operation Jotunheim, which one is really cool. But then we cut back to that single and Rick Flag says, no, there's something we got to do first. And then they cut back to the wide and the flame shifts to read Operation Harley, letting us know that now they're going to go rescue Harley. I just think it's so fucking cool. Because in that moment, we didn't have to spend 4 or 5 lines to say, no, we're not going to Jotunheim. We're going to go rescue Harley. We were able to do that visually instead of having to spend, 10 or 15 seconds having a conversation as to why we're going to rescue Harley instead. I just think it's really fucking cool. And I think that it's, like I said, a great way to communicate to your audience where we are in the movie. It was delicious. These are great, especially with Idris Elba and John Cena. I feel like they really stole the show, and the dynamic was probably one of the funniest parts of the movie for me. There's a real sense of these actors understanding the tonality of the film and knowing when to shift from their comedic delivery and dramatic delivery to match that of the narrative, which makes everything feel very tonally consistent and cohesive. It's a very cohesive and tonally conscious acting that I see in this movie, and I really enjoy that. Because when you have something as like a superhero movie they tend to either go one way or the other. They either swing too hard in the dark and gritty direction, or they swing too hard in the comedic sort of Joss Whedon direction, which has been my problem with superhero movies forever. But I think that Suicide Squad allows the actors to play within both deliveries. They can be gritty and dark, but they can also have really funny moments and really funny quips that give them a lot more depth than, let's just say, having someone be broody the entire movie. You know, Idris Elba's character is a broody character, but he's also really fucking hilarious because of the way that he interprets the world. And I think James Gunn allowed these actors to be able to play within that entire emotional range rather than constraining them to like superhero moods, as I would call them. It's really great. It's fantastic. And I love it. I think James Gunn directed the hell out of these actors too. It really does feel like their relationship is constantly growing and evolving, and they're becoming closer and caring for each other throughout the entirety of the film. And that really tells me that there was a lot of synergy between the script, the cast, and the directorial team. And I really love to see that. It just makes the movie feels like one cohesive piece rather than a bunch of elements that are stuck to the screen hoping that they stick. This movie was a joy to watch. It serves as a reminder that you don't always need to be gritty, dark, hyper-stylized or part of some big extended universe. Sometimes a simple plot with some really great characters and some gorgeously well-choreographed set pieces is all you need. I give The Suicide Squad an 8 out of 10.
If this whole beach was completely covered in dicks, and somebody said I'd eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
Why would someone put penises all over the beach?
Who knows why madmen do what they do?